Hunter Biden is the son of Joe Biden, former vice president, of course, now candidate for president of the United States. And Hunter's had a whole series of exploits, I suppose. He was thrown out of the United States Navy for cocaine use. He's had dalliances with exotic dancers. He was hired by a Ukrainian natural gas company called Burisma under investigation for corruption. His job for them seems to have been to provide top cover. He did that effectively, apparently. His dad jumped on a plane, flew all the way to Ukraine, leaned on the Ukrainians, and made them fire the prosecutor who was investigating the company. But maybe Hunter's greatest adventure, which doesn't seem to have received a lot of attention here, was in China. He flew in there in 2013 on Air Force Two with Daddy, then had a whole series of meetings with senior Chinese officials. The next thing you know, about 2 weeks later, he was in partnership with the State Bank of China, a wholly owned state enterprise. In other words, he went into business with the Chinese Communist Party. They kicked in $1 billion, eventually upped it to $1.5 billion. And Hunter and the Chinese Communist Party began to create new companies, whole cloth, and invest in others, a number of which seem to have been focused on conducting espionage inside the United States and stealing advanced technology from the United States. One of the companies concerned, just prior to Hunter investing in it, had been targeting the F-35 stealth fighter program here, our top-of-the-line fighter aircraft. After that, after Hunter was involved with it, it acquired an American company which had technology used in advanced American aircraft as well. But maybe Hunter's biggest focus, biggest exploit, was the creation of a company called the China General Nuclear Corporation, which seems to have been stood up whole cloth for no purpose other than stealing American nuclear technology. Hunter and his partner, John Kerry's son, were plank owners in this company. They kicked in initial investment money. Ultimately, this corporation was found to be involved in espionage, in stealing American nuclear technology. In fact, one of its employees, a consultant for the company, ultimately indicted by the Department of Justice and pled guilty to having recruited no fewer than 6 separate U.S. nuclear scientists or engineers to funnel sensitive American technology to the Chinese. Some of that pertaining to nuclear reactors, commercial nuclear reactors, some of it with direct application to the kinds of nuclear reactors used in nuclear submarines in the United States. This is a company created by Hunter Biden in cooperation with his Chinese partners, targeting American nuclear secrets. So now we're left, I suppose, still all these years later with several questions, at least. The first, I guess, is this: when Hunter Biden sat down with his new Chinese friends and they kicked in $1.5 billion to stand up companies, what did Hunter think that money was for? Why did he think the Chinese had suddenly decided to hand him, the vice president's son, $1.5 billion? Afterward, when one of these companies that Hunter helped create, was implicated directly in espionage inside the United States, stealing very sensitive defense information, what did Hunter think then about the purpose of his cooperation with the Chinese and what the goal of all of this was? But here I think probably this is the last question, but maybe the most important. And it doesn't have to do with Hunter, it has to do with Joe. What did Joe Biden, then vice president and now would-be president of the United States, think? What did he think the purpose of this partnership was? Why did he think the Chinese had handed his son $1.5 billion? And it was when it was determined conclusively that one of these companies that Hunter had been instrumental in creating was stealing some of the most sensitive defense secrets the United States government had. What did Joe Biden think then? And what did he do about it? I hope we get the answers to those questions. We certainly deserve them, and I hope we get them soon, because there's an election coming.